Title: The Color of Dreams. Chapter 1. The Aspiration. Aisha stood in front of her easel, the soft glow of the afternoon sun filtering through her studio window, casting a warm light on the canvas before her. The room was filled with the scent of paint and the vibrant colors that danced across her palette. Each stroke of her brush was a reflection of her soul, a testament to her experiences as a black woman navigating a world that often felt unwelcoming. She poured her heart into her art, using it as a medium to express the beauty, pain, and complexity of her identity. Despite her undeniable talent, Aisha had faced a string of rejections from galleries that seemed to favor a narrow definition of art, one that often excluded voices like hers. The art world, she had learned, was a place where tradition reigned supreme, and her bold, expressive style was frequently dismissed as too unconventional. Each rejection felt like a weight on her shoulders, a reminder of the barriers that stood between her and her dreams. As she painted, Aisha reflected on her journey. Growing up in a vibrant neighborhood filled with culture and creativity, she had always been surrounded by art. Her mother, a talented seamstress, had instilled in her a love for color and design, while her father, a community activist, had taught her the importance of using her voice to advocate for change. These influences shaped Aisha's artistic vision, driving her to create pieces that not only showcased her talent but also told stories of resilience and hope. Yet, as she prepared to submit her work to yet another gallery, doubt crept in. Would they see the value in her perspective? Would they understand the stories she was trying to tell? Aisha took a deep breath, reminding herself of the passion that fueled her creativity. She had to believe in her art, even when others did not. With a determined heart, Aisha decided to create a series of paintings that would encapsulate her experiences. She envisioned a collection that celebrated black culture, highlighting the richness of her heritage and the struggles her community faced. Each piece would be a narrative, a visual representation of the beauty that often went unnoticed in a world that favored conformity. As she worked tirelessly in her studio, Aisha felt a sense of purpose. She was not just painting for herself, she was painting for those who felt unseen, for those whose stories had been marginalized. Her brush danced across the canvas, creating vibrant scenes of joy, sorrow, and resilience. With each stroke, she poured her heart into her work, determined to create something that would resonate with others. But the reality of the art world loomed over her like a shadow. Aisha knew that showcasing her work in a prestigious gallery was a dream that felt increasingly distant. The thought of rejection haunted her, but she refused to let fear dictate her journey. She would continue to create, to express herself, and to fight for her place in a world that often overlooked artists like her. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over her studio, Aisha stepped back to admire her latest piece. It was a powerful portrayal of a black woman standing tall amidst a storm, her expression fierce and unyielding. Aisha felt a surge of pride. This was her truth, her story, and she was ready to share it with the world. Little did she know that her journey was about to take an unexpected turn, one that would challenge her beliefs and force her to confront the complexities of identity, art, and the pursuit of dreams. But for now, Aisha was focused on her aspiration, to create art that spoke to the heart and soul of her community, to carve out a space for herself in a world that often felt unwelcoming. And with that determination, she continued to paint, her dreams alive on the canvas before her. Chapter 2. The Encounter. The following week, Aisha received an invitation to an art fair in the city, a bustling event that promised exposure to a wider audience and the chance to connect with other artists. Excitement bubbled within her as she prepared for the event, carefully selecting her best pieces to showcase. This was an opportunity to step outside her studio and into a world where her art could be seen and appreciated. On the day of the fair, Aisha arrived early, her heart racing with anticipation. The venue was alive with energy, filled with artists, collectors, and art enthusiasts. Booths lined the walls, each displaying a unique array of creativity. Aisha set up her space, arranging her paintings with care, ensuring that each piece told a story and drew the eye. As the day unfolded, Aisha mingled with other artists, sharing her passion and learning about their journeys. She felt a sense of camaraderie among them, a shared understanding of the struggles and triumphs that came with being an artist. However, as she observed the predominantly white crowd, a familiar sense of unease crept in. Would they appreciate her work? Would they see the depth of her experiences reflected in her art? Just as she began to doubt herself, a tall figure approached her booth. It was Mark, a well-known white artist whose work had been featured in prestigious galleries across the country. He had a reputation for mentoring emerging artists, and Aisha felt a mix of excitement and apprehension as he examined her paintings. "Wow, these are incredible," Mark said, his eyes lighting up as he studied her work. "You have a unique voice. I can see the passion in every stroke." Aisha felt a rush of validation at his words. "Thank you. I try to express my experiences and the beauty of my culture through my art." Mark nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I'd love to help you get your work seen by a broader audience. I think you have real potential, but you might want to consider adjusting your style a bit. It could help you appeal to more galleries." Aisha's heart sank at his suggestion. While she appreciated his interest, the implication that she needed to change her art to fit a mold felt like a betrayal of her identity. "I believe in my style," she replied, her voice steady. "It reflects who I am and the stories I want to tell." Mark raised an eyebrow, a hint of surprise in his expression. "I understand that, but the art world can be tough. Sometimes, it's about finding a balance between authenticity and marketability." Aisha felt a knot tighten in her stomach. She had heard this sentiment before, often from those who didn't understand the importance of representation in art. "I think it's essential to stay true to oneself," she said, her voice firm. "Art should reflect our realities, not conform to someone else's expectations." Mark seemed taken aback by her conviction, but he quickly masked it with a smile. "I admire your passion. Just think about it. I'd love to see you succeed." As he walked away, Aisha felt a mix of emotions swirling within her. She had been given an opportunity, but at what cost? The encounter left her feeling conflicted, torn between the desire for recognition and the commitment to her authentic self. She watched as Mark moved on to another booth, engaging with other artists, and she couldn't help but wonder if her identity would always be seen as a barrier in a world that favored conformity. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Aisha spoke with several visitors who admired her work, but the weight of Mark's words lingered in her mind. She felt a growing urgency to prove that her art was valuable, not just in its aesthetic but in its ability to tell stories that needed to be heard. As the fair came to a close, Aisha packed up her paintings, her heart heavy with uncertainty. She had shared her art with the world, but the encounter with Mark had left her questioning her path. Would she compromise her vision for the sake of acceptance? Or would she continue to fight for her place in the art world, even if it meant facing rejection? That night, as she lay in bed, Aisha reflected on her journey. She thought of her family, her community, and the stories that had shaped her. She realized that her art was not just for herself, it was for those who felt unseen, for those whose voices had been silenced. With renewed determination, Aisha resolved to stay true to her vision, to create art that celebrated her identity and the richness of her culture. Tomorrow, she would begin a new series of paintings, pieces that would not only showcase her talent but also challenge the perceptions of those who viewed them. Aisha knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but she was ready to embrace the challenge. Her dreams were worth fighting for, and she would not let anyone dim the vibrant colors of her aspirations. Chapter 3. The Decision. The following morning, Aisha awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The sun streamed through her window, illuminating her studio and casting playful shadows across the floor. She felt invigorated, ready to channel her thoughts and emotions into her art. The encounter with Mark had ignited a fire within her, a determination to create pieces that were unapologetically her own. As she stood before her easel, Aisha envisioned the new series she wanted to create. She wanted to explore themes of identity, resilience, and the beauty of Black culture. Each painting would tell a story, capturing the essence of her experiences and those of her community. She grabbed her sketchbook and began to jot down ideas, letting her imagination flow freely. The first piece would be a tribute to her grandmother, a woman who had faced countless challenges yet remained a pillar of strength in their family. Aisha remembered the stories her grandmother had shared, tales of perseverance, love, and the importance of staying true to oneself. She wanted to capture that spirit in her art, to honor the legacy of the women who had come before her. As she sketched, Aisha felt a sense of clarity wash over her. She would not compromise her vision for the sake of acceptance. Instead, she would embrace her identity and use it as a source of strength. Her art would be a celebration of who she was, a reflection of her journey, and a voice for those who felt marginalized. With each stroke of her brush, Aisha poured her heart into the canvas. She painted vibrant colors that danced together, creating a tapestry of emotions. The image of her grandmother began to take shape, a strong, proud figure surrounded by symbols of their heritage. Aisha felt a deep connection to her roots, and the act of creating became a form of healing. As the days turned into weeks, Aisha immersed herself in her work. She painted late into the night, fueled by a passion that seemed to grow with each completed piece. The series began to take on a life of its own, each painting telling a story that resonated with her experiences and those of her community. She felt a sense of empowerment as she created, knowing that her art had the potential to inspire others. However, the reality of the art world still loomed in the back of her mind. Aisha knew that showcasing her work would require courage, especially in a space that often favored traditional styles. But she was determined to find a gallery that celebrated diversity and authenticity. She began researching local galleries that prioritized representation, seeking out spaces that aligned with her vision. One evening, while scrolling through social media, Aisha stumbled upon a post about a local gallery that was hosting an open call for artists. The gallery was known for its commitment to showcasing underrepresented voices and promoting inclusivity in the art world. Aisha's heart raced with excitement. This could be the opportunity she had been waiting for. Without hesitation, she gathered her completed pieces and prepared her submission. As she filled out the application, she felt a mix of hope and anxiety. Would they see the value in her work? Would they appreciate the stories she was trying to tell? Aisha took a deep breath, reminding herself that she had poured her heart into these paintings. They were a reflection of her truth, and she had to believe in their power. After submitting her application, Aisha felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had taken a step toward her dreams, and now all she could do was wait. In the meantime, she continued to create, using her art as a means of expression and connection. She shared her journey on social media, documenting her process and the stories behind each piece. To her surprise, she began to receive messages of support from others who resonated with her experiences. Weeks passed, and Aisha found herself anxiously checking her email, hoping for news from the gallery. Each time she received a notification, her heart raced, only to be met with disappointment when it was not the message she had been waiting for. But she refused to let the uncertainty deter her. Instead, she focused on her art, pouring her emotions into each brushstroke. Then, one fateful afternoon, as she was preparing to paint, her phone buzzed with a new email notification. Aisha's heart raced as she opened it, her hands trembling with anticipation. The subject line read, "Gallery Submission, Acceptance." Aisha's breath caught in her throat as she read the message. The gallery had accepted her work for an upcoming exhibition. They praised her unique perspective and expressed excitement about showcasing her series. Tears of joy filled her eyes as she realized that her dreams were finally within reach. In that moment, Aisha felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She had stayed true to herself, and now her art would have the opportunity to shine. This was not just a personal victory, it was a step toward representation and change in the art world. Aisha knew that her journey was far from over. Chapter 4: The Breakthrough. The days leading up to the exhibition were a whirlwind of activity and emotion for Aisha. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she prepared for the opening night. The gallery, known for its vibrant atmosphere and commitment to showcasing diverse artists, was the perfect venue for her work. Aisha wanted everything to be just right. This was her moment to share her story with the world. As she meticulously arranged her paintings in the gallery, Aisha took a moment to step back and admire her work. Each piece was a labor of love, a reflection of her journey, her heritage, and the strength of the women who had come before her. She had poured her heart into every brushstroke, and now they were ready to be seen. The gallery walls, adorned with her vibrant colors and powerful imagery, felt like a celebration of her identity. On the night of the exhibition, Aisha arrived early, her heart racing with anticipation. The gallery buzzed with energy as artists, collectors, and art enthusiasts began to fill the space. Aisha's friends and family were there to support her, their faces beaming with pride. She felt a sense of warmth and encouragement as they gathered around her, sharing in the excitement of the evening. As the clock struck 7, the doors officially opened, and guests began to flow in. Aisha stood by her paintings, greeting visitors with a smile, her nerves slowly dissipating as she engaged with the crowd. She watched as people moved from piece to piece, their expressions shifting from curiosity to awe. Aisha felt a sense of fulfillment as she overheard conversations about her work, people discussing the stories behind each painting and the emotions they evoked. One couple paused in front of her piece depicting her grandmother, captivated by the strength and grace of the figure. "This is beautiful," the woman said, her voice filled with admiration. "It feels so powerful and alive." Aisha's heart swelled with pride. "Thank you. This piece is a tribute to my grandmother and the resilience of black women in my family. I wanted to capture her spirit and the stories she shared with me." As the night progressed, Aisha found herself surrounded by a diverse group of people, all eager to learn more about her art. She shared her journey, the challenges she had faced, and the importance of representation in the art world. The conversations flowed effortlessly, and Aisha felt a sense of connection with those around her. It was as if her art had created a bridge, bringing people together through shared experiences and understanding. Then, as the evening reached its peak, Aisha noticed Mark entering the gallery. He scanned the room, and when his eyes landed on her paintings, a look of surprise crossed his face. Aisha felt a mix of emotions as he approached her, his expression shifting from curiosity to admiration. "Aisha, I didn't realize it was you," he said, his tone genuine. "Your work is incredible. I'm truly impressed." "Thank you, Mark," Aisha replied, her voice steady. "I decided to stay true to my vision, and I'm glad I did." Mark nodded, a hint of respect in his eyes. "I can see that. Your art has a powerful voice, and it's resonating with people tonight. I'm glad you took the leap." As the night continued, Aisha felt a sense of validation wash over her. She had faced doubts and challenges, but here she was, sharing her story and connecting with others through her art. The exhibition was not just a personal triumph, it was a celebration of diversity and the importance of representation in the art world. As the evening drew to a close, Aisha stood in front of her favorite piece, a vibrant portrayal of a community gathering, filled with joy and unity. She felt a sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her to this moment. Her art had the power to inspire change, to challenge perceptions, and to create a space for dialogue. In the days that followed, Aisha received messages from attendees who had been moved by her work. Many expressed their appreciation for her unique perspective and the stories she had shared through her art. Aisha felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that her journey was just beginning. With the success of the exhibition, Aisha began to think about the next steps. She wanted to use her platform to uplift other aspiring black artists, to create a community where their voices could be heard and celebrated. Inspired by her own experiences, she decided to start a mentorship program aimed at helping young artists navigate the challenges of the art world. Aisha reached out to local schools and community centers, eager to connect with aspiring artists who needed guidance and support. She envisioned workshops where they could explore their creativity, share their stories, and learn about the art industry. Aisha wanted to create a space where they could feel empowered to express themselves authentically. As she embarked on this new chapter, Aisha felt a sense of fulfillment. She had not only found her voice but had also discovered a way to amplify the voices of others. The mentorship program became a beacon of hope for young artists in her community, and Aisha was determined to make a difference. Chapter 5: The Legacy. Aisha spent the following weeks organizing her mentorship program, reaching out to local schools, community centers, and art organizations. She wanted to create a welcoming environment where young artists could explore their creativity without fear of judgment. Her vision was clear: to provide guidance, resources, and a sense of community for those who, like her, had faced barriers in the art world. The first workshop was scheduled for a Saturday morning at a local community center. Aisha arrived early, her heart racing with excitement and nerves. She had prepared a curriculum that included discussions about identity, storytelling through art, and practical skills like painting techniques and portfolio development. She wanted to ensure that each participant felt valued and inspired. As the young artists began to arrive, Aisha greeted them with a warm smile. They ranged in age and background, but all shared a passion for art. Aisha introduced herself and shared her own journey, recounting the challenges she had faced and the importance of staying true to one's vision. She encouraged them to express themselves freely, reminding them that their stories mattered. The workshop began with a group discussion about the significance of representation in art. Aisha facilitated conversations about their experiences, encouraging the participants to share their thoughts and feelings. The room buzzed with energy as they opened up, sharing stories of their own struggles and triumphs. Aisha felt a sense of connection with each of them, recognizing the same fire in their eyes that had once burned within her. After the discussion, Aisha led the group in a painting exercise. She encouraged them to create pieces that reflected their identities and experiences. As the young artists picked up their brushes, Aisha moved around the room, offering guidance and support. She watched in awe as they poured their emotions onto the canvas, creating vibrant works of art that told their unique stories. One young girl named Mia caught Aisha's attention. She was shy at first, hesitant to share her work. But as Aisha approached her, she noticed the intricate details in Mia's painting, a depiction of her family gathered together, surrounded by symbols of their culture. Aisha knelt beside her, admiring the piece. "This is beautiful, Mia," Aisha said gently. "Can you tell me about it?" Mia's eyes lit up as she began to share her story. "This is my family at our annual cookout. We always have so much fun together, and I wanted to show how much they mean to me." Aisha smiled, feeling a swell of pride for the young artist. "You've captured that joy perfectly. Your painting tells a powerful story." As the workshop continued, Aisha felt a sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. She was not just sharing her knowledge, she was creating a space for these young artists to thrive. The energy in the room was palpable, and Aisha knew that she was making a difference. Over the next few months, the mentorship program flourished. Aisha organized more workshops, inviting guest artists to share their experiences and insights. The young artists began to form a tight-knit community, supporting one another and celebrating each other's successes. Aisha watched as they grew in confidence, their creativity blossoming in ways she had only hoped for. One day, as Aisha was preparing for another workshop, she received an unexpected email. It was from a prominent art magazine that had heard about her exhibition and mentorship program. They wanted to feature her story and the impact of her work on the community. Aisha felt a rush of excitement and disbelief. This was an incredible opportunity to share her journey and the stories of the young artists she had been mentoring. When the article was published, it garnered attention from the art world and beyond. Aisha's story resonated with many, highlighting the importance of representation and the need for inclusive spaces in the arts. The article showcased not only her work but also the incredible talent of her mentors, giving them a platform to share their voices. As Aisha continued to mentor young artists, she realized that her journey had come full circle. She had once been the aspiring artist seeking recognition, and now she was in a position to uplift others. The legacy she was building was not just about her art, it was about creating a community where diverse voices could be heard and celebrated. One evening, as Aisha sat in her studio reflecting on her journey, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. She had faced challenges, but she had also found strength in her identity and purpose in her art. The mentorship program had become a source of inspiration, not just for her mentors but for herself as well. Aisha knew that the road ahead would still have its obstacles, but she was ready to face them head-on. She had learned that staying true to oneself was the key to breaking down barriers and inspiring change.